hell do I know in Florida? Didn't he just reboot this thing? How the hell do you do an unboot? Guess I can watch the original for a little while. Whoa! What the hell?
Hello, Mimic. Going to watch a movie, are you?
Yeah. Why is there a deep voice guy in a suit who looks like me on my TV?
I'm not actually in your TV, Mimic.
Well, I know that. I'm not a moron. Obviously, you're coming through the cable box.
You're a special child, aren't you?
So what's with the voice? You sound like Barry White swallowed a subwoofer.
I'll have you know that I'm a demon. More specifically, I'm your demon.
My demon? I didn't know I had kids.
No, idiot, I'm your personal demon, the one most people see on their shoulder.
Then why are you on my TV?
Technology sort of means this is the only way I can get your attention.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that makes sense.
And I see you got my text message.
Wait, you're from Florida?
Close enough.
Well, why are you hijacking me being able to see Conan?
Well, that's because I feel the need to show you another movie.
And I feel the need to watch the Governator punch out a camel while he's drunk. Get off my screen, dude.
Now, I have a proposition for you. One you may even like.
Now, if this is about the lawsuit, then horse sounds very similar to...
I don't care about that.
Oh, so the whole thing with the recycling books isn't...
No, and you did try to put a 14-year-old girl in a wood chipper.
She was wearing a Twilight shirt. She had it coming.
No, I want to offer you the chance to get me out of your head for good.
I didn't know I had you in my head. You're on my TV.
No, you idiot, I'm already in your head.
Wait, aren't you in Florida?
I'm that part of you that really likes bad movies, and I'm offering you the chance to get rid of me forever.
I got pills for that.
And if you could spend that money elsewhere?
Huh. So what's the catch? I don't play the fiddle.
Nothing quite so down home, I'm afraid. I want to show you a movie that you may consider bad, and if you like nothing about it, I go away for good.
What's the catch?
No catch, just you and me, watch a movie, and if you hate it, I go away forever.
Oh. So what movie?
You have to agree before I tell you.
Okay, fine. But only because these pills are expensive.
No, because I'm going to make this easy for you just this once. I'm going to show you a movie with one of your favorite characters.
Tom Jane?
No, stupid, I mean Conan.
But I like those movies.
No, Mimic. This is the 2011 Conan with Jason Momoa.
Oh, I knew there was a catch.
Hello, demon.
Fine, let's get this over with.
So, remind me, who is Conan exactly?
Conan the Barbarian is arguably the very first badass action hero of the 20th century. I mean, Robert E. Howard created the character in 1932 for Weird Tales, a pulp magazine at the time, where he would stand next to publications of H.P. Lovecraft, for the love of God. And if you're going to have your character in the same magazines as the Cthulhu mythos, you've got to be a badass. And between then and now, there's been over 50 novels and hundreds of comics. It runs the range between Howard's original works, 14 other authors, and countless other comic writers expanding the world of Hyboria. His most notable appearance, to most people actually, was the 1982 movie Conan the Barbarian. You know, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And while this may be an introduction to a lot of people to Conan, it really wasn't true to the notoriously loose story that even the novels and comics went by. But it did feature themes that accurately reflected the nature of the character himself, if a little polished for 1980s audiences. Still, it was a success that spawned, well, a god-awful sequel more akin to a 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons module than an actual Conan story, but it did introduce the character to a wider audience and has allowed it to progress further than the novels and comics. But is the reboot worth watching?
Well, that's what I've been shoehorned into finding out, I guess, so here's Conan the Barbarian.
Between the years when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Ares, there was an age undreamed of, when shining kingdoms lay spread across the world.
So we learned from this bait and switch by the Mr. Morgan Freeman that the necromancer has actually created a mask capable of touching unspeakable evil or some such junk. And if you really need confirmation,
The mask summoned spirits of unspeakable evil.
Now, if you want to see a mask of unspeakable evil, I have just the thing.
Somebody stop me!
We hear also that the necromancers pretty much conquered everything, but that the barbarian tribes of the north staged a revolt and toppled the evil empire. Each tribe took a shard of the broken mask that they smacked off this poor bastard's face. I mean, Jesus God. Which makes me wonder, why the hell didn't you just sail out into the middle of the ocean and just drop it in the deepest part you could possibly find?
You're going to do this the entire movie, aren't you?
how'd you guess?
Here we learn that Conan was born on the battlefield. His mother was fatally... Whoa, my God! Ron Perlman is the father of Conan?
Who else is qualified to be the father of all badasses?
Tom Jane?
I thought that was a given.
So then we find out that Conan is already a skilled warrior even at a young age. However, we're also led to believe that this isn't entirely uncommon for children from the tribe, just that Conan is more aggressive than most of them. What follows is a surprisingly well thought out and shot sequence of Conan getting caught by and besting several marauders that look more like demonic Indians than another tribe of barbarians. However, the village is assaulted by more than marauders this time, and try as they might, the barbarians had actually crossed a magical empire of slavery and death. You know, those guys. They just can't seem to stop an army of guys that look like Uruk-hai and extras from Willow. You know, I really hate to say this, but I like this scene. Not because they ham it up, well, because they do, and it's certainly not because of how iconic the Conan thing is. The thing I really like are the close moments. The ones between Conan and his father. Those really seem organic and simple, and when you see them in danger, you actually notice that they still care about each other, even though they know that shit's about to get real. So after chaining Conan's dad to the forge and setting some sort of molten metal bucket over his head, Conan has to hold onto the chain to keep his dad from dying. And of course his dad can't escape, and he just sets the forge on fire and calls it a day. I guess he prescribes to the bad guy notion that, well, if you leave someone in a no-win situation, they're not going to win, and, you know, not think creatively. However, Conan's dad sacrifices himself and lets Conan escape. This in turn leads to Conan growing up obsessed with finding the man that wiped out his people and killed his father. However, at this point we kind of join Conan in the middle of a raid against some slavers.
Now, I don't know how he's doing that by capturing slavers and freeing slaves, but it does give plenty of opportunity for the old Conan trope of having bare-chested women run around screen for a prolonged amount of time.
Stand fight! You pig-bellied mother-ass
Moving on.
And so what does our hero do with his recently freed slaves? Stuff that really doesn't matter. Oh, and then we meet a character who also really doesn't matter. So, Conan intentionally gets himself captured, and after some persuasion, holy shit!
Is that even a thing?
Well, it does say here that he was a character in Spice World.
Oh. Well, that's okay then.
What are you doing? Don't think you are deal!
Okay, now that was a bad pun even for this movie.
But didn't the original Conan have more puns than actual dialogue?
It wasn't full of puns. It was Arnold's first major movie. He had a voice coach just so he could speak English properly. You can't expect Shakespeare. And let's face it, most people may forget that Conan found his sword in a tomb, but they will never forget the fact that he punched a camel the hell out.
Candygram for Mongo.
Exactly!
No, ordinary! My name is Ilashan! Perhaps you have heard that there is no lock I cannot break or fault I cannot answer!
Oh, good, that voice. And he's gonna come back, isn't he?
Of course, he hasn't been a major character in the movie so far, so they have to make sure that he's memorable.
But does that mean you have to shoehorn him in?
Well, how else are they supposed to develop his character, except for a French accent, a high-pitched voice, and screaming his name at the top of his lungs?
I don't know, make him interesting?
Next we see the forces of Kolar Zim marching. I guess with a giant ship towards the monastery? Well, that's one way to get extras in this movie.
Isn't that stock footage from the fan reactions to Mass Effect 3?
Oh, no, these guys are clearly only bleeding from the upper half of their body. And of course our hero is on his way to find Zim and finally get his revenge.
Hey, it's a trailer shot.
So Zim decides to assault a mountain monastery with a pirate ship?
It's the last thing they'd expect.
Of course it's the last thing they'd expect. They drug a pirate ship up a mountain and threw the hole in the side of the earth just to smack an archway down. What were they trying to do at this point? Are they trying to prove that Zim is some sort of tactical genius? It's like ramming a dump truck into a Prius. It's just overkill.
You're forgetting the appeal of pirates.
That's different!
Wait. This whole army marched right through here not 2 minutes ago. And now they're escaping through a side path they clearly would have had to see on the way in. Now, are these ninjas that badass, or did Kolar Zim and all his tactical genius of using a fucking pirate ship to beat down some rocks not think to post a rear guard in case somebody decided to, I don't know, make a U-turn at the cul-de-sac?
But the ship.
I'm not even going to ask questions about how they got that ship through that hole. I just want to know why they didn't have someone stationed in their rear in case someone decided to, I don't know, run out. That's not even a back exit, for the love of God.
Now look, there are only so many opportunities for a chase scene in a fantasy movie. And really, are you going to knock them for trying?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to have a chase scene, that's fine, but it should be explained better. Here you're just forcing it.
Come on. You have a group of pseudo-raider, warrior, orc-looking guys versus ninja monks. Not to mention Conan is in the middle of it. And isn't that just awesome?
Yeah, wouldn't it have been better if it exploded?
Oh wow. With a huge fireball?
Yeah, sure.
And maybe a track shot of the fire and the smoke in the distance so we can see the effects?
Okay, buddy, whatever you say.
And then maybe we could show her lose some of the white things she has on and show some of her.
Are you the spawn of Michael Bay?
So after all the monks are dead and Conan really only has a couple of guys still chasing him, the monk lady goes down for a trick that this guy must have just made up on the fly. Candygram for Mongo! Oh wow, Rose McGowan has really let herself go after Charmed.
You watched Charmed?
Nah, with the sound on. So here we find out that Kolar Zim's wife was a sorceress who was hunted and killed for some reason. I assume she was married to this guy and had Rose McGowan, so obviously she's just batshit crazy. But she's probably responsible for everything from mass genocide to kicking puppies. Now that's fine because we sort of see the family she left behind, even if scarred from the events, but I can't help feel that this was the movie we should have seen.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a solid plot. A woman is found and killed for practicing magic, and her husband and daughter raise an army to exact revenge. Now, it takes more than a good idea to make a good movie, or I might not have a migraine right now, but that sounds much better than... And he's drooling on himself. I don't know why I bother.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
So after killing everybody else and taking the orc guy hostage, Conan has a discussion with the monk girl to basically tell her she's an uppity bitch. Okay, so maybe that's not the gist of it, maybe he just tells her that he's going to use her to bring Zim to him. But still, it's the first very smart idea he's had the entire movie.
My people have never been conquered by anyone the likes of you, and I'm not about... Oh. What?
Quiet.
And there's the second. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to do that to people I've been forced to spend time with.
Family gatherings can be brutal, right?
Actually, I meant when I worked at Walmart.
And despite the efforts of Conan and his magical gag, we're still subjected to more exposition. At least here we're told about the plan between Zim and his daughter. Apparently they want to fill the mask with the blood of the monk girl, which will help Zim bring his wife back from the grave. And apparently that ship is more useless than we thought because there's no mirror on board.
She does look kind of creepy.
Kind of. She looks like she just walked out of a My Chemical Romance concert.
Well, when Conan talks to the captured orc-looking guy, he actually does something that's, okay, it's kind of cool.
String him up to a tree and use a red-hot poker to interrogate him?
No, God! What is wrong with you?
It worked in The Punisher.
Tom Jane can do whatever he wants. You leave him out of this.
No, instead he straps into a boulder, shoves a message in his mouth, and launches his ass at the bad guy with a fucking catapult. And the thing I love here is the way you track his face as he's flying, and you can see the exact moment when he realizes he's completely fucked. So when I yank the message out of his mouth, it tells him that they need to come to an abandoned outpost near the ocean. Now, he claims he wants to sell the girl, but of course he tries to ambush Zim and just kill him. Unfortunately, we come to a scene where Conan has to fight some of the leftover CGI budget from The Mummy.
Complete with bullet time.
Oh, bullshit. Everyone knows sand people march in single file to hide their numbers.
You've been waiting to use that one, haven't you? Explosions.
Ah, sweet Christ, really? How badly does this movie want to be a summer blockbuster?
Enough to throw about $70 million into the budget.
Wait a minute. With that kind of budget, they made those worthless mummy things and then sealed the scene with an explosion ripped right out of a Tom Cruise movie? What the hell did they spend all the money on?
Only the barbarian tribes were left to rise up against them.
Well spent, movie. Well spent.
As for his manners,
You look like a harlot.
Yes, and apparently I'm the only woman you've ever met who isn't one.
Here we got some badly contrived reason as to why Conan is appealing to this chick. Look, I'm not even going to pretend to have all the information here. Usually monks would have vows against the next scene I just can't show you. Let's just say it's as gratuitous a sex scene as you're ever going to get outside of an X rating or 300.
But it furthers the plot. How is this movie supposed to progress if you don't further the plot?
Since when does this movie have a plot?
And now the monk's just going to leave Conan in the cave, laying on the hay while she runs back toward the ship all by herself. Now, I hate to be the guy to stomp all over this.
No, you don't.
But wouldn't it make more sense for Conan just to escort her back? Or maybe since they started this love scene at 100 yards from the ship, why didn't they go back to the captain's quarters and just spend the night there? We've already established her importance to Conan and that she knows she's being hunted by an entire army of bloodthirsty orc people who want nothing more than to use her to summon some undead sorceress. Would it really be out of bounds for them to, I don't know, take a few precautions?
Well, we have to advance the plot somehow. She needs to be captured so there's a sense of urgency, and to make things more personal to Conan for the sake of the story.
They killed his father, his people, everyone he's ever known. He's thrown himself against sand demons, crazy witches, two sword-wielding assholes, and orc people, and never once thought about the consequences, and you're telling me that he needs a captured woman to have any kind of urgency. Do you have any kind of idea how stupid that sounds?
Well, maybe they just have a thing for women being tied up.
Now that I believe. Wait a minute, I know that name from somewhere.
Why, yes.
Something's supposed to be doing with the city, right? Something important?
Of course.
That doesn't look like a port city, so it can't be where the boats sailed to.
Keep going.
Oh, wait a minute.
I owe this man my life.
Oh, come on!
You knew he'd be back. They even gave him a name and named his city.
This is not a D&D game. You don't go pick up a random thief to go save a princess in a dark castle. The tropes are kind of funny, but do they really belong in this movie?
How else is he supposed to get the girl back? Zim has a whole army and he can't very well storm the place on his own. Well, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe he'll become a very dependable person. Even join his crew. We have an entirely open cannon to play with, and it's very possible.
Oh, suddenly you're attacked by a tentacle lurking in the murky water all around you. Roll initiative.
Now you're just being an ass.
Next, we cut to Rose McGowan talking about draining souls, but this may explain why I feel like this movie's trying to suck my soul out.
Gingers don't have souls.
You shut up.
So Conan gets into a fight with probably what's a third of their budget, flailing tentacles around the place. The whole time the French guy is in the back losing his fucking mind. The monster is grabbing everyone, while Conan decides to trade body shots with a guy played by Nathan Jones, the former professional wrestler. This is a guy so big he could probably punch a hole in a small sun if he got a running start. In fact, the biggest disappointment here is that the French guy doesn't get eaten by the scenery in a cruel twist of irony.
Why do you hate French people?
So after Conan ditches the Frenchman, thank God, and rushes past another trailer shot towards the Castle Grayskull Snake Mountain love child over here, we see him about to confront Zim and about 2 or 3 dozen of his followers. And honestly, if you're going to be bringing your dead wife back from the grave and also ascending to some sort of godhood, this is the kind of thing you invite everybody to. And you might want to include some kind of snacks and maybe some champagne, maybe even some fireworks. Instead, the tactical fucking genius of Kolar Zim, the same guy that drug a pirate ship inland through Erebor just to knock over a couple of rocks, and then has the audacity not to guard the rear exit as the monks try to, I don't know, run away from the slaughter, decides, I don't think I need to bring any guards, I'll bring a bunch of these pussies in robes. Which, that couldn't be inviting to anybody, possibly. At all. Ever. Right?
Okay, you do have a point. I know I have a few friends.
Well, let me just stop you right there.
Conan arrives just in time to steal a monk robe and spy on Zim as he slices open his woman, flips her around, and starts pouring her blood into his mask.
And yes, I'm perfectly aware how disturbing that sounds.
So after the sorting hat from hell suddenly starts pluming to keep away predators, the entire cave starts to come down before the monk lady is dropped through the sacrificial shaft, which of course prompts Conan and Zim to start jumping down like super fucking Mario Brothers. After Conan frees the monk lady, we get a few more sword swings before Conan falls onto the most spongy rock in the world. And while Conan tries to scratch an itch on his lower back with the memory foam rock, Rose McGowan is trying to find and kill. Oh, come on, that's bullshit. I was gonna let the Freddy Krueger thing pass, but now you're just trying to piss me off. So after Rose McGowan and the worst monk to ever study Kung Fu wrestle around for a minute or so, Conan appears and throws Frida Krueger around like a rag doll before cutting off her arm and kicking her off a cliff to be impaled on what seems to be the only handrail on this Tim Burton version of Wonderland.
It's supposed to be an ancient stronghold of the Necromancer Kingdom of...
Nobody asked you.
I told you I'd save you. Oh god, the rocks are falling, everyone for themselves. So after Conan runs like Scooby-Doo from a guy in a ghost suit, we see him and Zim have yet another sword fight scene. And this time Conan gets his father's sword back, and once again he just doesn't kill the bad guy. And, God, once again, they run away from him and try to escape. And she doesn't care that he left her to die under a pile of falling rocks.
Why are you so critical?
Because this movie is making me bleed from the rectum.
So after seeing that his bouncing little psycho bitch of joy has finally been removed from this movie, Zim decides to say something that nobody, and I mean nobody, ever could possibly fucking guess.
You wanna know what it is? You wanna know what it is? Hear that, kids? He's coming for you. Woo!
You're starting to scare me.
You think?
But of course something happens on that darned old rickety wooden bridge. With the monk girl hanging from a chain and Zim taunting Conan about his father and his failures, we're treated as some of the worst and most unoriginal bad guy monologuing I have ever heard. It gets so bad, in fact, that even the actress loses all patience and slowly begins to go fucking insane. However, with just a simple flip of a sword, he sends the bad guy, pseudo-god, plummeting to his death in the lava far below. And with him dead, the actress begins to regain her sanity, unlike the rest of us watching this god-awful movie. So with the evil general dead, the mask destroyed, the crazy daughter killed, his father avenged, and the main woman in the movie deflowered, we see our hero ride away as Castle Snakeskull Mountain crumbles behind him. He drops off his one-night stand, swings north on horseback, and visits the site of his father's forge. There he feels like he's finally come to an understanding of what his father was trying to tell him as a child, and the rest of us will go to our happy place to try to escape the pain of the things this movie made us see. And so ends Conan the Barbarian.
So, what did you think? Be honest.
Honestly? Well, I don't know, to be honest.
Alright, now I've got to admit to it, the first 30 minutes of this movie are actually really well done. And they're so well done that it feels like a completely different movie. The father-son dynamic of Conan was so perfectly paced and put together that this movie just sets you up for a fall that I'm not sure you could really live up to, no matter how hard you try. But once you get into the core of the movie, it feels very out of place with the beginning. There are some scenes that have wonderful acting, and the head monk is one of those. Other parts are lacking any semblance of entertainment for the sake of just throwing in random fantasy genre tropes. I mean, sure, it was done in the original movie, but this one had a wonderful life all its own without the cliches for the first half an hour. So I didn't see a need to abandon that. Now, I'm sure I'll get flack for this, but Jason Momoa does actually try really hard to bring Conan to life as an actual barbarian, and he's doing actually okay. But this movie sets him off on a revenge quest that honestly was better done and executed in the movie Faster with The Rock. No talking, no need to chew the scenery, just kill them and move on like a juggernaut. However, he seemed to want to inject this idea that he's some sort of likable frat boy. I'm sure that's probably so they can have some longevity in the series, but then actually what killed the series altogether.
But is it honestly a bad movie?
Well, I guess if you're looking for some dumb fun and you can turn your brains completely off for about 2 hours, it's actually kind of good and watchable.
See, now that wasn't so bad, was it?
Don't push your luck, Demon Boy.
Now come on, you had some fun, right?
Okay, I had a little fun. I mean, it could have been... Wait, what do you want?
Well, I mean, sort of. I actually have a favor to ask.
Go on.
Well, I'd like to hang around more. Show you some more movies, maybe even find a few that you really like.
Just you, right?
For now.
What?
For sure.
Okay, I suppose that's alright. Might even be a little bit of fun.
That's the spirit. Now, go get rid of the pills.
Why?
Well, it's the closest thing we're going to get to a handshake. Unless you'd like to ram your hand up your nose.
Pass! So, what do we do next?
Oh, I have a great idea. I think you'll love it.
Well, sure. What do you got?
Oh, but Mimic, it'll be fun.
No, you can't be serious. No.